back in your plate doing YouTube.
I can't put
You can't. You're too busy. So it's going on no plate. One of us is so employed that he has no time. So Alice and I got in a fight. I had this really cute, sexy picture of her behind me. We didn't get in a fight, but she just wanted it gone because she thought it was just too risque. But it was a great picture. God, it's a great picture. I'm sure I've tweeted it out there before.
like a 40-year-old mom. I don't need like risque photos of me.
Well, this was like when we were first dating, and for some reason we decided that I'd carry you because obviously we set up a camera. Anyway, I tweeted it out before. It's out there somewhere. But anyway, it's not.
That was for the Michael Graham book party.
I know, but like, why was I walking in my own door with you in my arms?
I don't know.
Because we obviously set it up for some reason.
I don't know.
But anyway, it's but then and then Alice complained about being a rough 40-year-old, which is not true. You look great.
Yeah, I just don't want to like look directly across at me wearing a friggin' half naked dress, and
I don't think
like
it's
just gross. I don't want to see it. That's all.
It's absolutely not gross, but fine, whatever. But no, but so it is interesting because it did get me to. I think at that age when we were first dating, then you were much more
whorish. I mean, like
whorish. Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Okay, good.
No, but I just think that it was. That you were running up the score a little bit because you were so young and attractive, and I was so decrepit. Which brings me to why I really brought you here tonight.
Okay.
You see this?
Yes. It looks like a broken off piece or something.
It is. Yes, it's a what's that called when it's cleanly breaks, like a femur cleanly breaks? Compound fracture. It's not even. It's broken completely. That's this chair.
You're sitting on?
That I'm sitting on. The left arm of this chair. So I have destroyed this chair, which is a really high quality chair.
Are you going to talk about the bed?
Yeah. And my bed. I collapsed my bed, too. It buckled. So we've got some work to do.
The box spring is like...
violently shattered. It looks like
it's like out of the there's like 3 bars that go across it that keep it in one piece, the box spring, and hold it up, and 2 out of the 3 are snapped in half. So now I've rotated that piece of the box. It's a split box spring because we couldn't get a regular size queen box spring up our stairs when we bought it, and so I rotated that side of the box spring so like you're back on an edge that's not broken and it's not falling down. But I mean, like I told you, you're playing with the house's money with that box spring. We probably should get a new one. Even though like now you should be able to sleep on it, you're like on 1 piece of wood now.
Yeah, I'm on 1 piece of wood
out of 3. So
that is my life. Just from now on, that's my autobiography. Just 1 piece of wood. What am I doing right now, Alice?
Typing 1 piece of wood as the episode title.
Exactly. All right, so let me get to something here. I'm going to give us a little bit of credit. There's a lot to talk about with the Somali stuff and the National Guardsman, one of whom is dead. I think the other's still alive in Washington, D.C. Trump whacking out people from Honduras and boats. Is it Honduras?
Venezuela. He's pardoning the Honduran guy.
Pardoning the Honduran guy. It brings me over to somebody who is not a beacon of knowledge, but I'm trying to see, okay, so what are people saying about this? What are people saying that I should be thinking about this? And forever when I have asked questions about all these things, I go to my one source of facts and true journalism, which is who?
Joy Reid?
No.
Matt Walsh?
No. Who's the best of the best? Sue O'Connell.
Oh, okay.
So Sue O'Connell tweets out, care about justice? Here are the things happening in the U.S. right now that don't drive traffic. As usual, Sue mistakenly assumes that everybody else doesn't already know everything she knows and a whole lot more. But she's just discovering it. She's decided that she's a teacher now and she's 60 or whatever. So now the tone has changed. Now we're being lectured to. She says, okay, here's the influences YouTubers, but matter. She said, U.S. military strikes killed 60-plus people on boats in the Caribbean. Recent reporting, the U.S. killed survivors after the initial attacks. Families say many were fishermen, not traffickers.
Is this, like, didn't this get written up in, like, the Washington Post or something? Like,
Yes.
why is she saying it's the things you haven't heard of?
Right, as if she's doing the reporting, by the way. Families say that many were fishermen, not traffickers. I'm sure they are saying that. I'm sure some were. I don't care. So, 72% of ICE detainees have no criminal convictions. In Chicago, 97% of those arrested had no criminal record. Now, the fact that there are 72% of ICE detainees have no criminal convictions is not a stat that means too much for me. Because they're not being convicted in criminal courts that God knows who's running these courts. Doesn't mean anything to me. She said 97% of those had no criminal record. You come in this country illegally, you are breaking the law, and it's a misdemeanor the first time. And for most of these people, it's not the first time, whatever.
And yeah, and have you like followed this one that they're trying to do now because they found out that this person is like marginally related to Caroline Levitt?
Oh, no.
Where they're being like, the mother of Caroline Levitt's nephew is being deported and she doesn't even care. Like all this stuff. Basically, yes, Caroline Levitt has this nephew that the mom is an illegal immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
But the nephew has been living with Caroline Levitt's brother and Caroline Levitt's brother's wife, who is not the mom, for his entire life and doesn't hang out with this woman as far as I can tell at all. Which, like, do you know how hard it is for courts to like take kids completely away from moms?
It's hard.
Yeah. And so this woman's like been charged with battery and like all sorts of stuff, and she's like another criminal illegal alien, and I don't understand why they're trying to like put this on Caroline. The mother of your nephew is now being deported. Now do you see, like, no, this is like not a person she's friends with. Like, it's so weird.
Federal courts, Sue O'Connell telling me more. Federal courts ran out of funding in October. Unpaid staff delayed cases, people losing homes and jobs while stuck in, quote, the justice system. So much for innocent until proven guilty. Why did the federal government run out of money in October, else?
Because the Democrats shut it down.
That's right. That's right. How were the federal courts running during COVID? Do we think that the cases were adjudicated as quick as usual, or perhaps not? I get the feeling it was perhaps not. But once again, we're dealing with somebody trying to educate, I highlight her because she's the kind of person who believes, first of all these people vote every time. A lot of these people are out above overpasses, and they believe that you haven't seen this. You're in your silo and you didn't know this stuff. 400 plus threats against federal judges this year. A third of the judiciary targeted impeachment calls for judges who ruled against the administration. Yeah, I understand that. Threats are never good whatsoever. At the same time, if you're a judge, shut the F up. You're in the business of having people hate you a lot. And for some of the ones who are tampering with the Trump stuff, sorry, okay, you want to be a hero?
What happened to reap the whirlwind or whatever?
Right. You want to be a hero? That's fine. I would also say that to say that that judges being threatened are a problem, while meanwhile anybody who with a badge and a gun who's working for Trump right now is being vilified as Nazis in brown shirts, and two were just shot.
And in some cases who don't even have guns.
And two were just shot, which blows me away to think.
Speaking of things I didn't know, Sue O'Connell, and didn't know primarily because the way our pals on the left have been talking about the National Guard troops being in D.C., I didn't realize that they weren't armed. Did you realize this?
No, you told me this afternoon, and I was like, what the freak? Of course they were.
Yeah, no, they had. I mean, well, if you listen to our friends on the left talking about it, it sounded like the National Guard was like rolling through in tanks and like running over children as they, manned machine guns off the top or whatever. Like, and apparently, and this, they're trying to play this into a thing like that the boyfriend said there was no point to her being in DC, so they're trying to make it into a thing that's like that Trump caused her death with his pointless thing. But the boyfriend of this woman who was in the National Guard was talking about how it was like pointless them being there because they couldn't do anything, and apparently they were unarmed, and like I didn't get this, that when we deployed the National Guard to help with crime here, it's primarily they're just there to like be visible and look like don't commit crimes in front of me.
Right. Channel love.
Yeah, like what? Why are we half doing this? If the left is going to act anyway, like they're being occupied by a military force just because Trump brought in some National Guard troops, like it does suck that we put the National Guard there as sitting ducks to stand around and have people like throwing stuff at them. And this is like what the boyfriend was kind of saying when he talked to the media. He said like she felt like it was pointless being there because they couldn't do anything. And he said, she believed in this mission, but that people were terrible to them and like throwing stuff at them. And even before, they actually were murdered by this Afghan national who shouldn't have even been here except for the incompetence of the Biden administration. It's so sad that we put them in this position, not like that Trump put them in this position, but that we're doing it in such a way where they can't even do anything and they're left, completely defenseless against this stuff. It's sad and it's unfortunate. And it's shame on everybody who's vilified them.
Agreed.
And acted like they're an occupying army.
Right.
Because you all did this.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that. Can I, let me jump before we do it.
Go back to our buddy Sue O'Connell with things we didn't know.
Sue O'Connell's last point. U.S. fell 57th in global press freedom rankings. 50-plus incidents of police attacking journalists at protests. 3,500-plus reporters lost jobs at government-funded outlets. And this is the short list. Yada, yada. First of all, that is the most blatant freaking propagandist horse bleep there possibly is. 57th in global press freedom rankings.
These are like the most made up rankings where they're like, U.S. ranks as one of the most dangerous countries for women. And it's like, shut up. Like, have you seen the Middle East? Are you crazy?
Yeah. The government in this country doesn't kill you if it's mad at you. Believe me, Trump would be tempted if he could. 50-plus instances of police attacking journalists at protests. Those journalists at protests are self-defined journalists. They're just a-holes who are Antifa types or just whatever. As far as I'm concerned, you can beat them senseless. Anybody, I am fine with that. I think that reporters should be treated rougher. I think that if Trump wants to be rude to somebody who's covering the White House, absolutely. If you can't take it, you're a pussy and get out. Whatever. It is so to cover yourself in glory. I mean, these people have an awards show for themselves every year. Can you imagine that?
I know.
An awards program. I worked at the Herald, and there are awards programs for papers. I was like disgusted they even thought of it. We would never win anyway. But I had to go to a couple. I was made to go to a couple and speak for 5 seconds, and I was disgusted. Oh man, most self-important people at all, other than actors, are journalists. Actors are the worst because they're literally useless. They get love and praised and money and riches and all this stuff heaped upon them. And so they say, okay, I haven't earned any of this stuff I'm getting because I do make-believe for a living and I slept with a director. So what I'm going to do now is yell at everybody and tell them how they need to be better people. Like,
right.
Okay. That's fine. All right. I want to give a special plaudit to my friend Matt Walsh, who we've had on a couple of times. Matt Walsh and I get a double byline. Oh, no. Before we get to Matt Walsh, I'm sorry. Let me just, because we're on the media, here's how bad your media sucks. Just another situation. I want you to listen to this. This is, I watched today. This is Jonathan Karl, ABC's Jonathan Karl. Did these come through for us? Hopefully. And okay, Matt Walsh is trying to come through right now. Failed to load. All right. Hold on, let's try.
I love the new Twitter. Thank you.
Hold on, let me send this to myself. Phil.
Am I allowed to start a new topic or no? No.
You can.
Mike Johnson, an interview he just did.
Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna MacBook Air this to me. AirDrop it to me. Ready? Here we go.
I'm ready.
Usually we just did this on Twitter. Now I can't anymore. Come on, baby. This is Jonathan Karl talking about Mike Johnson today, who made some news this morning for a quote, something that he said, which you're going to experience in just a moment here. It is downloading. We're almost there. All right. And I want you to listen to this. This is how the press, and there's a panel around him. Nobody does a damn thing here at all, but absorb this as true. There's a panel around him. Listen to this. This is kind of like late breaking news that ABC's Jonathan Karl mentions. Just listen to this story. He does it right in front of you.
So that was interesting. Let me play something from the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, an interview he just did with Katie Miller. Take a listen to this.
We have this joke that I'm not really a Speaker of the House, I'm really like a mental health counselor. And so when the...
What did he just say? Did you hear it?
We have a joke that I'm not really the Speaker of the House. I'm a mental health counselor.
Okay.
An interview he just did with Katie Miller. Take a listen to this.
We have this joke that I'm not really a Speaker of the House, I'm really like a mental health counselor. And so when the pressure gets turned up really high and then the stakes are so high and the votes are so tight, I just try to sit down and listen to everybody and figure out what their primary need is and how we can meet that.
So Mike Johnson just said there, I don't know if you, let me just repeat it again. I am not.
He's repeating it, okay?
Yeah.
He's repeating it again, what we just heard.
Yes.
Said there, I don't know if you, let me just repeat it again. I am not really Speaker of the House. I'm a mental health
counselor.
Is he leaving anything out, Alice?
I'm like a mental health counselor?
No, let me go back. Let me go back here.
Okay.
From the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, an interview
have
he
it
just
that
did
it's a
with
joke?
Katie Miller. Take a listen to this.
We have this joke that I'm not really a Speaker of the House, I'm really like a mental health counselor. And so when the pressure...
Yeah, he just said we have this joke. And here's Jonathan Karl reframing the quote.
Their primary need is and how we can meet that.
So Mike Johnson just said there, I don't know if you, let me just repeat it again. I am not really Speaker of the House. I'm a mental health
Counselor. He's always in survival mode. He can't catch up with all his phone calls. It sounds like he is just underwater right now.
And they all take a turn then beating up Mike Johnson. The fact that somebody didn't say, okay, so hold on, guys, 1 second. Jonathan, throw the commercial. And the moment we went to commercial, somebody didn't say, you're so fucking fired, dude. Get out of here now. Get out of here right now. This guy is a piece of crap who just wrote a book about being a really good journalist, by the way, because he's a really, really good journalist. You just heard him. I'm not really Speaker of the House. What the frig? You goddamn freaking enemies of the American people. The more abuse you can get, the better. I'm all for it. I don't care about if you get death threats. F you all. F you all. Effing suck. Which brings me to, let's widen the net a little bit and bring in documentarians. We mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, we were pretty much the first people who mentioned the Ken Burns thing, because like immediately you called it, you said it would be some propaganda piece and it's on the Revolutionary War, and I thought, no, it's not going to be that bad. And so we played this piece of audio. This is recorded off my TV, forgive me, but we played this piece of audio.
We know our lands are now become more valuable. The white people think we do not know their value. But we are sensible that the land is everlasting. Kanasotego, spokesman for the Six Nations.
Long before 13 British colonies made themselves into the United States, the Six Nations of the Iroquois Confederacy, Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, Tuscarora, Oneida, and Mohawk, had created a union of their own that they called the Haudenosaunee, a democracy that had flourished for centuries.
We heartily recommend union. We are a powerful confederacy, and by your observing the same methods our wise forefathers have taken, you will acquire fresh strength and power. Therefore, whatever befalls you, never fall out one with another.
Oh, damn it. It just goes to right then. Freaking edit the cut. My cut's not long enough. Goes to right then. Ben Franklin
Right.
mentions that these people had done this, and it was remarkable. And they say essentially Ben Franklin had said these people had done this, and it was remarkable. So they cite Ben Franklin as saying, well, these people
They got the whole idea for
Exactly.
America from.
Exactly. So I was like, and I've looked up a few things on the documentary, Ken Burns documentary, and I immediately found faults, like the
Right.
doctor they had, whatever. So, but Matt Walsh went further with the Ben Franklin thing. He looked up the quote.
Right.
Listen to this quote. It is magnificent. Magnificent.
Ridiculous. So, because the claim is obviously ridiculous. So, I'll tell you. I'll give you the one piece of evidence, the only piece of evidence that he's relying on to make this absurd and remarkable argument. I mean, if this was true, that our democracy was based on Indian tribes, well, that's big news. So, extraordinary claim, extraordinary evidence, as we're told. So what's the extraordinary evidence to support this claim? Well, it's this letter, which was sent by Ben Franklin to a man named James Parker in 1751, more than 24 years before the American Revolution. And here's what the letter says. Quote, "It would be a very strange thing if 6 nations of ignorant savages should be capable of forming a scheme for such a union and be able to execute it in such a manner as that it has subsisted ages and appears indissoluble, and yet that a like union should be impracticable for 10 or a dozen English colonies to whom it is more necessary and must be more advantageous, and who cannot be supposed to want an equal understanding of their interests."
Ignorant savages, Alice. Saying that if these morons can do it, to manage to get together, and we can't, it seems unlikely to me.
Yeah.
But can you imagine Ken Burns seeing that and molding it into Ben Franklin saying, wow, we need to be
These Native Americans really, they have the secret. We've got to do this.
Ignorant savages. My goodness, what a testimony. And it just goes to show these people, they can't help it. They can't help it. One thing is that does.
Well, and Splash says in the chat, clearly the indigenous Americans had a superior form of government, which is why every successful nation in the world today credits them with their freedoms.
Yes.
Obviously. Duh.
And the problem is that, look, there are things to say and interesting things about the indigenous people. They have all sorts of wars in between themselves.
But you just did, well, Matt Walsh did, but we played it.
Right.
Matt Walsh just did more history reading the full quote of the Benjamin Franklin letter than any of the people involved in that entire documentary did.
Well, right. And by the way, if you have...
But real history is actually interesting.
Yes. It is actually interesting.
You might end up learning something against your will.
Right. But they're just trying to use this to launder a story to make it... And the thing is that if you were writing a very pro-colonist, anti-indigenous, pro-founding father thing, to say that Ben Franklin called them ignorant savages, that would be accurate too, but that also wouldn't tell the whole story.
No, it is kind of an admiring quote in a way, because he's saying, like, if they, like you said, if they can do it, then we can do it. Because he's saying, like, a bunch of ignorant savages got together and did this, and, like, look, they've been here a long time, so, I mean, it is kind of in an admiring tone, but
it's damning.
It's damning in the sense that, it's not putting forward the view that Ben Franklin was a modern progressive person who saw Native Americans like they're teaching them in the schools today, which is what the Ken Burns documentary is trying to put forward, which is that Ben Franklin and Nicole Hannah-Jones would have totally seen eye to eye and been on the same page about, like, queer, two-spirit, indigenous people
Yes.
and whatever other made-up crap.
Oh, you
these
know what it is?
people
It's the
believe.
burn barrel T-shirt with the guy with the telescope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, so they like to, and we did this whole episode where we were saying everything's fake history with like a black woman invented the light bulb or whatever Joe Biden said. It's insane. And, you know, what's the space movie? Hidden Figures, or what's the one where did we play the trailer on here? We did, where like the black women who got the mail going in World War II basically saved all of World War II, the greatest heroism of the entire war. Like, they need to stop with this stuff. It just gets embarrassing. And here's the thing is that like the real history is actually more interesting. And that's what's damning about that quote is that it splits wide open this like fake imaginary view of history that we're all putting forward here. I mean, you can watch stuff even from 50 years ago and see that people then were living in a different world culturally. I mean, like we were just talking about how long ago, like 50 years ago was.
Mm-hmm.
And how you were alive for both. We were talking about that because you said who's been the biggest actress since 2000. And I said that's like a really long time. It's like saying who's the biggest actress between 1975 and 2000. And you were like, I was alive for both. But you were watching that thing about like Sidney Poitier the other night.
Yes.
And like he lived in a different America than we live in now.
Yes.
And that's like, if you actually look at real history from the past, if you actually read real letters, and if you actually like watch real things from the relatively recent past, like 50 years ago, it becomes so clear that we live in an entirely different world today. People today think differently. We're culturally different. We've led radically different lives. And like, you can't shoehorn all of the past into our like tiny boxes of our politics of today. And that's why it's so damaging to historical thought to try to shove all of history and all of the ways that people thought and talked and acted back. I mean, even 50 years ago, much less 250 years ago, into our box of like our politics and hating Trump right now. And that's what the left is doing. And that's why it's so flattening and embarrassing to your understanding of history. And that's what that Franklin letter is showing, is that this is just an entirely foreign universe to our entire way of thinking about indigenous people.
Let me play. I found the Ken Burns Franklin attribution. It shows a portrait of him.
In the spring of 1754, the celebrated scientist and writer Benjamin Franklin proposed that the British colonies form a similar union.
There you go. That's what he was proposing.
Yeah.
Any language we should know about in there. But, I mean, yeah.
I mean, and Splash says in the chat, I had talked about how everything's Wakanda with their histories. Ken Burns' next documentary is about how Wakanda was a superior culture, 8-part series, 20+ hours. It's true. They like think that that's real life. I mean, and we joke about it, but there was like a lot of serious discussion about how amazing it was that like Wakanda was depicted in this way, and like it gives us a glimpse into what a non-colonized Africa could have been like, and all this stuff. Like there were people out here saying this stuff, and it's just embarrassing and pathetic.
Well, you were exactly
it's
right.
So shallow and
so
stupid.
I took a baby step into Black Wall Street. And not too crazy deep, but you know, obviously there was confusion, there were accusations of this. It appears that the whites burned the hell out of the town. I'm not sure. It doesn't look too good for the whites. It's not good. But the suggestion is that the blacks were on their way in this country to being really great and having a very fruitful, almost a renaissance in the financial world, and it was already happening with these businesses, and it could be done until it was snuffed out. That's the suggestion is that. But in truth, the black experience for many people and potential, yes, has been snuffed out, but it's not because of Juneteenth in one Black Wall Street. It's because systemic Black Wall Street's everywhere.
Right. It's because LBJ's Great Society friggin' stifled out any friggin' hope.
But they can never have any introspection about this stuff. Instead, now they put people on a pedestal, once again trying to make the Iroquois Confederacy the precursor to the American experiment, the same way that they're trying to do with Jasmine Crockett, who
and it also, by the way, you and I have so much more in common with Jasmine Crockett, culturally, in lived experience, in opportunity, than anybody who had anything to do with Black Wall Street on either side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Jasmine Crockett and us, we're in the same boat in America in 2025. And I mean, like, she went to an elite prep school. She is not, like, in some ways, she's more privileged than we are. I mean, actually, probably in most ways, she's more privileged than we are, right? Like,
sure.
But her life experience and her experience of America has much more in common with our experience of America than any of the people on Black Wall Street. And that's, like, the trick that this wokeness stuff is doing, is it's trying to say that, no, Alice, you and Tom, you're on the team of the white people in the Black Wall Street debug. But this is the distant past. We have nothing to do with those people. Right. And they are as foreign to us as Ben Franklin writing that letter where he calls the Iroquois Confederacy ignorant savages. You know, like the past, when people say the past is a different country, like it really, really is. And to put people on teams with people from 100 or 200 years ago is so misleading and damning, and it just takes everybody's eye off the ball of the here and now and, like, what we should do to make everyone's lives better in this country now. You know what?
Yes.
Let's gripe about you're the bad guys in Black Wall Street and we're the good guys in Black Wall Street, and now let's exact retribution for that.
Exactly. So should I play my Jasmine Crockett thing here?
Sure, let's get to Jasmine Crockett.
Okay, but we're going to get back to what you just said.
Yes.
Put everybody in the same boat now as then, because that's critical. Here's Jasmine Crockett this weekend. Remember, she called. She said Lee Zeldin took money from Jeffrey Epstein, even though it turns out that was a different Jeffrey Epstein because the other one had been dead for years. This is her being asked on M. Snow. I didn't coin the term, but M. Snow. Oh,
okay.
Being asked about this, and this is the person that they're putting up as the great hope. You know, she's the next big thing.
And it wouldn't be a conversation with us if I didn't quickly put you on the spot on something. You made a little bit of news last week when you mistakenly accused Lee Zeldin and another Republican
I didn't
accepting money from Jeffrey Epstein, but it was a different Jeffrey Epstein according to the financial records. Do you want to? I don't want to give you the opportunity to amend that. And
I have no amendments. When I was on the floor, for those that don't know how it works, basically they decided to bring this privilege motion up, and they decided that they wanted to kick Stacey off of her committees because Stacey had received Stacey Plaskett because she had received a donation from Jeffrey Epstein. I had maybe 20 minutes.
Yes.
Stacey Plaskett took money from the actual Jeffrey Epstein that everyone means when they say Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
I had maybe 20 minutes. We researched the FEC, and because I like to speak with specificity, that's kind of what comes with being an attorney. I made clear that there was a Jeffrey Epstein. They knew on the other side that I did not have time to actually pull up and
It's the Republicans' fault? Mm-hmm. They knew I didn't have enough time to slander her correctly and thoroughly. That I had to do it blindly.
Research, especially since that particular one that Lee Zeldin got up in an uproar about was specifically out of the New York area. We know that he was out of that area. So, and this obviously was not done post Jeffrey Epstein's life. So I made sure that I said a Jeffrey Epstein.
But you were trying to insinuate that it was the
I absolutely was insinuating that it could be possible. That is true. But the point is, I never said that it was that specific one because I did not have the adequate time to do it. And so the Jeffrey Epstein has stepped forward, and that's not
Mostly she's just admitting that she knew it wasn't true when she said it on the floor.
Well, exactly. She's just confessing to being
I knew it
malicious.
wasn't just Jeffrey Epstein, but
I just didn't want to pay for the stuff, so I just walked out with it. Okay, well, you're under arrest.
You know, a normal name. And I think that what would have been problematic is if I would have claimed that, say, that happened and it legitimately never happened. So ultimately, he cleared the record. I have not researched further. I've not talked to this doctor.
But you can agree that Lee Zeldin didn't receive money.
I can agree that Lee
Jeffrey
Zeldin
Epstein
has said that he's not received money from the Jeffrey Epstein.
There we go. Nope, not going there. Okay, so she's an idiot. She's been told that she's much smarter than she is. That's fine. I will give Sue O'Connell a little credit here because Jasmine Crockett is playing with her earpiece. Mm-hmm. And, this earpieces come in and out. And I remember I was with Sue O'Connell on her show, and my earpiece kept getting messed up. I couldn't, it kept falling out. I don't know if I have weird ears anyway. And I'm like messing with it. She said, "Oh, just try to put it in." And then she got exasperated and said, "Just take it off." I thought that was cool. Thank you, Sue. All right, so the thing you said before we played her was that you can't just pair experiences through generations, which brings me to some experiences that you and I knew nothing about over the weekend.
Yeah,
because we're high profile, very famous, very affluent, cool and hip people. We spent last night, Saturday night, watching local cable, the local cable channel.
Old local cable pre-recorded things from YouTube.
Yes, we were hoping what we were looking for one specific Memorial Day parade so we could find our kids from like last year or 2 years ago. And so we watched like 47 minutes and found both kids marching in a parade. It did not matter, but they wanted to do it, and we are vacuous, so that's what we did. So then
it was fun. We saw me holding Peter watching too.
Yeah. You look good, Alice. You look good. I know you're rough.
I didn't look good.
I'm
a rough 40.
You're a rough 40, but you look good. So we saw, we're trying to the history of the town. We're in West Newbury, and it's like Newburyport, and it's seafaring, whatever town. It's horses. So we're looking into the history of the town. Maybe one of the episodes we saw showed all sorts of old houses. We thought maybe they'll show our house. They didn't. And then we saw the only thing that was left, the history series, was something about the West Newbury Alms House. Mm-hmm. I knew nothing about this. Alice speculated that alms meant
for poor people, because when you give alms giving is one of the 3 pillars of an Orthodox fasting period. Mm-hmm. So like during Lent, you're not supposed to just fast. You're supposed to fast, pray, and give alms. Okay. Alms is what you give to poor people. ALM.
Okay. So we find out that the Boy Scouts here have...
Well, a Boy Scout in particular, he did it as his Eagle Scout project, which is really cool.
His Eagle Scout project was to find essentially to clean up and restore a forgotten potter's field, a cemetery, unmarked graves from the almshouse. And they cleaned up the grave and all that.
And so the almshouse, to fill in more information here, was in West Newbury, and I presume other places, was where everyone went who was indigent or insane or whatever, didn't have a way to keep themselves anymore and didn't have somebody to take care for them or whatever.
Full of tragedy. And these are, sometimes this was just about somebody being really old and all their relatives dying. So they ran out of money. They ran out of their house. It was gone. And there was that. If somebody had a terminal cancer, terminal God knows what, horrific maladies that they had, you'd end up in this place. If you were crippled in some way, you might end up in this place. When you were out of relatives and out of resource, out of people who could help you, you ended up in this place. This was not a happy place.
No, this was the place of last resort, and the town funded it, and the position of the master of the almshouse was actually funded by the town until the early 20th century. But yeah, and there's a cemetery associated with the almshouse in West Newbury, which was lost and forgotten, but was as this Eagle Scout project cleaned up and restored and marked, because everybody there is unmarked graves because there was no money to, make gravestones for everybody and stuff. And usually it was the person in charge of the almshouse who was the undertaker for these people.
Yes.
Did the preparation for burial. I mean, and what an insight into a life that is not like our life today. And the house is still there. So we went and drove and we saw where the house, it's a residence now, which like.
Talk about a haunting.
I know.
People die in this place of everything badly. You know, insanity. They called them inmates. In other words, I get the feeling they couldn't just walk out the door. That means, and people died of all sorts of things. And their last days were spent there. This is not where they wheel you in front of the TV and you're watching MASH reruns. This was no bueno. But it was just like a matter of life back then. Sure, you fought in the Civil War in the 1850s, whatever, and you did all this about town, and you were the mayor of this town and this and that. Well, you would come to the end of your string, and no luck, no money, no nothing, and you're there with some guy who's a spastic or insane, and that's just it. And that was just life. In this particular scenario, these are mostly. West Newbury people were mostly Caucasians. I'm sure there was a little bit of everything in there, and that's all it was. And so I know nothing about it. But for us to, in 2025, pretend to know a goddamn thing about how life was when life was really hard, it's like, F you. I was also thinking about, like, they talked about how, like, a lot of Civil War people were there and other people. And I thought about it, like, can you imagine being a Civil War or Revolutionary War person, veteran, Civil War veteran, World War I veteran? And, like, every July 4th, people are shooting off explosives and you just kind of freaking handle it. Like, I can't imagine. There was no, like, PTSD stuff back then.
Yeah.
You were just got really jumpy sometimes and suddenly had to, like, hit Jack Daniels.
Yeah, shell shock.
Right. And it's like, it just, the point is that life was frigging hard, and to look back now from freaking Columbia University and decide that there were good guys and bad guys back then, because
that fit into, like, your neat categories of 2025.
Yes.
Oh, they wouldn't have liked Trump because they would have seen that he's bigoted against Two-Spirit people. Like,
right.
Friggin' hey, it's so small-minded. It's so small-minded, and it lacks imagination. And, I mean, Ken Burns knows better, but, Cheswick has said in the chat, what a sad way to end a career.
Yes.
I think it was Cheswick who said it. But, yeah. It's upsetting, and it's,
Okay, we should do the chat.
Sorry to be right about that, but yeah, let's do the chat, and then let's head to the Patreon show and talk about Tim Walls's Somali buddies.
All right, bro. Here we go.
Billy from Manchester again.
Hey, Billy.
34 minutes ago, just saw Tom's just cry for help. I mean, if you're tagging Steve from Gloucester to try to get a rise and get him back on the show, oh, look, I found this great tripe, Steve from Gloucester.
That's
Maybe
right.
we should try it one day. I mean, if that's not a cry for help to get him back on the show now that Kirk Minahan has quit, oh, my God, pathetic.
So that is a mischaracterization of what I did. I actually did tag Steve from Gloucester because we are tripe buddies. We do appreciate it. We also both prepare tripe. We don't prepare it. We season it the same way.
I do have to say, though, this does nothing for the allegations that Billy from Manchester is heavily interested in Steve from Gloucester's prospects having to do with the burn barrel.
Yes, they are in the same
universe.
Yes, they are. Absolutely. And actually, I mentioned it because you would know if you listen to the Minahan show and Steve and I talk about tripe. If people who eat tripe talk to each other about tripe because it's not too popular, it's pretty rare and it's delicious. But I had gone to, what's the place in Linfield? Spinelli's with my brother yesterday, and they were out of tripe. So my brother we went to J. Pache and got some, and J. Pache right down the street, and I guess Saugus maybe. Which is a great place, and it was delicious that we had today. And I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for Steve, because I've been going to Jay Pache for 20 years, different ones, not that one, asking about tripe, and they always said they didn't have it. Now they have it.
Wow.
Thanks to Steve.
Wow. By the way, in the chat, Mark from Wakefield is saying that the town of Wakefield had a poor farm, is what they called
interesting.
it. And it was into the 20th century where the high school is on Farm Street.
Oh, wow. Right in the middle of everything, right? That high school's a huge monstrosity. Yeah, I guess every place had this.
I mean, you had to, I guess.
Yeah.
Because what were
I mean,
you
in the
supposed to do with
good
people?
side, like you weren't just like executing people. So at least we have that. Unlike the Canadians did with the indigenous
Well, and
people.
they weren't taking our approach now, which is like we just let them live outside.
Or encourage them to commit suicide.
Right.
Hey, Tom and Alice, John and Greenwood here.
Hey, John.
Happy to hear that you'll be chugging on for many more episodes. I'm looking forward to them all, and happy Thanksgiving.
You too, John. Thank you so much. Oh, this is older, so this is... Oh.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
Just want to wish Tom and Thomason a happy Thanksgiving. Great American.
Agreed.
And a big fan of his as well.
Oh, that's so sweet. Look at everybody being nice on the chat.
Tom and Thomaston.
I know.
That's not Tom in
I know.
Best Blueberry. I'm a Billy guy. I can't help it. Can't help it.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Wow, Billy.
Tom not knowing that there's a Fluffernutter recipe on the side, whatever, of the can is a bigger lie than Joe Biden's staff saying that he was competent in his 4 years. I mean, he must have had those peanut butter fluff bars, whatever the heck that recipe is, at least 50 times in his life. Anyone who has green bean casserole from a back of a Campbell soup can
good stuff.
recipe has had a Fluffernutter. And the shock that he was completely dumbfounded. What? There's a recipe back there? Complete
It was
fraud.
for never fail fudge on the side of the fluff container.
Yeah. No, I never did that, Billy. I never did that. I did, by the way, all that we discussed that on the All You Can Eat pod.
Mm-hmm. Trish said she has commentary on the All You Can Eat podcast information too. Call the chat. We should play it on our next All You Can Eat podcast.
We can. I will say one thing that I have a place. There's a place for fluff. A good, nice, warm peanut butter and fluff sandwich with that fluff coming out of it is gorgeous. So there's a soft spot for that. I'm essentially a fluff guy. My kids don't love it. I don't get it. Oh, they have their mother's palate. Rough 40. Oof.
Hey, Tom and Alice, John and Greenwood here
Hey,
again.
John.
I got kind of nervous and forgot my joke, but I was just going to say that you guys should consider yourselves to be the nerfed Rush Limbaugh at a minimum. All right. Good night.
I love it.
You're nerfed Rush Limbaugh. I like that.
I'll take it anytime. Anytime. Rush Limbaugh's chair didn't break, Alice.
What about his box spring?
Ooh.
Is it in pieces?
Hey, Tom from Thomason. I figured I went back and listened to it myself. This is Billy from Manchester, by the way. It's when I said empire. I did. I started laughing because it wasn't laughter of breaking code. I'm an angry person. There's a dark cloud that just follows me everywhere. But it wasn't breaking code or breaking character. What it was is just, can you imagine associating these two as an empire? I mean, it was like the perfect word just to sum up what we've got to look forward to. I mean, this is going to be funny. Tom Shattuck, entertainment capital of the world.
The last podcast standing.
Yeah, we are not an empire, actually. We have... you would know. As a matter of fact, every bit of insurrectionist has won. What do you call it? What did he call them in Iraq? The people who fought against the Americans who we thought were going to be joined right in? They were the...
Insurgents?
Insurgents, yes. All of the insurgents are winning. Although we had a good week pushing back. But if you look outside, you'll definitely say, these are people who need things. These are the people who need assistance. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Hope you're ready. Hope you are ready, my little friend.
Okay.
Here we go. You ready? Here we go.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Just looking in the chat. Trish said Steve from Gloucester and Billy from Manchester are the same person. Julian Phil said Billy from Manchester and Jasmine Crockett are the same person.
Wow.
Anyway, thank you all so much for listening. If you're on Patreon and you're in that chat right now, just stay there because we're going to do more on the other side. Like I was going to say, we are going to talk Tim Walz on the other side. See you over there.
C'est la vie.